everyone, and welcome to KYE Talks. I am Sonal Ambekar, your host for this interview. Know Your Entrepreneur is a digital platform where we talk to several entrepreneurs who tell us why they chose not to be stuck to the regular 9 to 5 and went ahead to do something different. They went ahead and chased their passion. Our guest today is Dr. Sapna Agarwal, the founder of Edge. She's got 20 years experience. She's an academic evangelist, a vivid promoter of education. She has been a K-12 school principal, a school mentor, an advisor, and she's a passionate educator. Her motto is "Nation comes first, always and every time." Her husband, Mr. Piyush Agarwal, is a Kargil War veteran, and in 2019, they started Edge. It's an academy that trains young people for Army, Navy, and Air Force. Edge Academy has been working since 10 years. Their mission is to help all stakeholders in the learning process. In December 2020, India Today listed Edge as the best academy for SSP, which is these services that they provide of training youngsters and making them ready for Navy, Air Force, and as I mentioned, Army. Let's go ahead, talk to Dr. Sapna and get to know more about Edge and how her journey started and how it has been through all these years. I would also like to mention that Dr. Sapna also has a YouTube channel, which is known as iBig Wonder. We will be linking it down below. Do go and check out because she has some amazing topics that she talks about and it's really engaging. So I would urge my viewers to go and check it out. Welcome, Dr. Sapna. Welcome to KYE Talks.
Yes. Thank you, Sonal. Such a pleasure being on the KYE channel. And I saw a lot of videos of yours. You're doing such a wonderful work that it feels so nice to be here, to be part of the same group.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for recognizing our work. Okay. So moving ahead with our question answers. I would like to know, ma'am, what was the inspiration or what was the motivation behind, starting Edge, behind you do it as an educator, but that also does make you an entrepreneur. So did you ever think that, oh, wow, this is going to be like my own thing? That's what usually a motivation for an entrepreneur is. So what would you say was your motivation?
Right. Thank you, Sonal, for this question to begin with, because, when my husband got his retirement, so, I was serving a K-12 principal at that point of time, and all I knew was I felt education. Right. And so we were talking, and he said that all I know is about military. I am a Fauji person. Right. So we just sat down together and thought one day, can we blend education and military together and can we try to put across something? So how it happened is that I am now residing in Kota, Rajasthan. Our academy is also over here. So this was one city where people weren't much aware about the various armed forces, the competitions and all. So people told us that this is not the right thing which you are doing. In fact, many of our friends told us that we are doing actually, we've gone nuts and we shouldn't start this. But the heart said we should. And then we rented a premise and we started. And it's been 10 years now. We've created more than 400 plus officers for the Indian Army, Navy, Air Force. Yes.
And, that's not just a contribution to our economy, but it's a contribution to our nation as a whole.
And we feel so happy and so proud of our students and alumni. And we really wish that we keep getting this energy to run the show continuously.
Of course. We wish the best for you. We need more people like who contribute to our nation in ways that people may not think that they can contribute. So ma'am, since giving back to the nation, I could say it was a motivation for you and Colonel Piyush Agarwal sir. Colonel Piyush Agarwal sir. I'm sorry. We owe him a lot because of the service that he's provided to our nation. So, ma'am, I would like to ask you the next question, which is what are the factors that give you a sense of accomplishment, that gets you going every morning that, oh yeah, today I'm going to achieve this.
Right. So, for an educator, this is something like your students start recognizing you.
Right.
So whenever we are traveling pre-pandemic time, in a flight or maybe any station, there's always a student over there. So it's like, I mean, no place is unknown now. So, and you know, the children, those who got, I call them children, they are officers, I still call them children. Right, they're the class 1 officers, and you know, they'll invite us over a telephone call that it's their pipping ceremony, and they're getting engaged. So, you know, all of them. So we become parents to like such a big group. So that is one motivation, that we have to create these
warriors.
Warriors, nation come first in their mind. So that is the one and only motivation, that we have to do something for the country, and this is our way of doing it.
That's wonderful, ma'am. And I'm sure, like, as every person has his or her share of, you know, ups and downs, barriers and challenges, you must have faced certain barriers as you started on this journey. So would you like to tell us what were such barriers and how you overcome them?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's very important. Vicky, both of us come from a services background, right? And we didn't have anybody funding us, or we didn't even have funds to start with. And as I mentioned, we just rented a premise, right? And first year, we had only 9 students getting registered with us and sustaining the faculties and everything from our own pockets. So, you know, the second year, we really thought, I mean, were our friends correct? I mean, we had actually gone eccentric or what? I mean, what are we trying to do? But by the time, I mean, the second academic year also crossed paths, somehow we struggled, and the financials were a major issue initially. People did support us emotionally, but I mean, neither we didn't ask anybody to help us with money. Honestly, we never asked anybody. And by the time it was third year, we started feeling very strong about our concept. And we said, whatever it is, we are going to go through it. I mean, we are going to take it ahead. And and then the 5th year, it was the 5th academic year when we purchased our own premise. God was like really kind. We could purchase our own premise. We had a huge, we need to have a training ground. We could purchase our training ground, a personal training ground, and that was like, okay. So we of course, the banks and the loans and everything supported, but then we developed that capacity to pay back.
Right. That's really important. And like you mentioned that, I mean, sometimes people around us, they doubt our capabilities, and then when things don't go our way, then that doubt starts creeping in our head also, in our mind also. But it's very important to overcome it, and, you know, keep working hard, not to give up, and that's actually how you go ahead, isn't it?
Right, it is. So I'll definitely give the credit to my elder son. We are parents of 2 boys. Both are like now grown up, taller than both of us. Right. So our elder son stood as a very, very strong pillar. He was just in class 9th at that point of time when we started. In fact, 8th he was when we started. And he was like, not to worry, I'm there with you. I said, what will you do, baby? But he was like, no, we are going to do this edge has to run. And I think his constant force with like, no, we have to, So he was a big motivation. And then my husband, Colonel Agrawal, he was clear in his mind that whatsoever happens, even if it's a 1-room show, we are going to continue with it. Right. So of course now it's a premise. We have so many classes. We've grown. We are completely digitally equipped with the latest equipments for students. So that's
wonderful. I mean, that shows the growth. I mean, going from a sapling to growing into a tree, that is exactly the kind of growth that we aspire to see or within ourselves also when we're embarking on a journey.
Yes.
So, ma'am, what would you say are the factors that you feel will help you achieve your business aspirations going ahead?
Okay, so as far as business is there, for us, we kept 2 things absolutely separate.
Right.
So one is like the passion which we have, nation comes first, and we want to do it. And as far as business is there, because the people involved and engaged with us now. And we have to see that they also get a constant growth.
Right.
So, you know, even the stagnated water starts smelling bad. So, you know, the constant growth is very important. We have to keep moving. So when it is business, yes, we became little more moving from a casual, not exactly casual, I shouldn't say casual, but we started moving ahead more formally into our processes, of collecting the fee and be able to give the quality facility in selection process of the students. So we are not open to everybody and anybody. We have a selection criteria and a selection that's important, right? And so, you know, all these things helped us, I mean, streamline our processes and so earlier we were thinking, okay, what is going to happen 6 months ahead? But now, I mean, over the years, of course, we've started planning at least a year and 2 years ahead. But pandemic year 2020,
it was eye-opening.
It was an eye-opener. And one thing which I would say that in our first PTM we had in the month of April, and that was through the Zoom call and on the Zoom platform. We realized that this year, yes, the students have been very less coming because, you know, parents were also slightly worried and skeptical. But post the Diwali, they started coming. And so we blended, we started using the blended learning platform. And very quickly, within 15 days, we trained our faculties and ourselves.
For digitalization,
Yes.
So just yesterday... please go ahead.
In fact, during the pandemic, we purchased a couple of these LED boards so that, you know, the students do not miss out on any learning aspects. I remember that.
That's wonderful. I mean, just yesterday I was having an interview where the client they did say that 2020 has brought a lot of bad things, and we do consider it to be a bad year, but it's also got some good things, such as it's made us completely digitalized, which before 2020 maybe we didn't think that it was possible to happen so quickly, but in 2020 we needed to adapt so fast that we did not even realize that from one night to the next night we had completely gone digitalized. All the companies were adapting to these digital platforms for their meetings, conferences, and this breakthrough happened when we realized that all our work now, thanks to internet, can be done through these digital virtual conferences.
Right.
That's something good that has come from 2022.
In fact, myself and Colonel Agrawal, when we sit down together with our faculties now, so we just talk with them that, had it not been pandemic, we would have been pushing it hard for one academic year at least, that you have to learn how to be digitalized. But because it was a need, so it just took us a few days and everybody had to do it.
Because we had to push ourselves. No, there's no other option. This is the only option. We need to learn this. Yeah. So, ma'am, I'd like to, the next question usually is, how has the venture changed you as a person? But I would like to customize this question for you. Since you're an educator, you're a teacher, and for a teacher, it's a continuous learning process. It's not like you've learned this and that's it. You're learning every single day to provide more to your children, your students. So I'm sure that a teacher also learns a lot with every experience or from every student she or he deals with. So you must have learned so much over these years. So how would you say that has changed, your perspective towards life, maybe?
Wow, Sonal, that's so profound to ask. And coming from you, you're such a, very, very young, but such a profound question. Yes, that's right. We change every day because of the way we get the experiences from our students. So, a batch to another batch is absolutely different. And even in a batch, every child, of course, is learner. There's no one paracetamol for all the patients, that kind of a thing. But what we've learned is in these last 10 years, being into our own Edge Academy and my being a school principal and a school advisor separately, what I've learned is that, one thing which stays common is that parents, when they put they seek admissions or they put their child into an academy, academy or a school or anywhere, all they want is, what is the performance? So, right, they just question. And I've been telling every single child and every single parent that, whenever you question, your question should not be with a doubt. Your question should be to know more. Right. So, when it is a doubt, actually we can. So similarly, these children, when they come to us, some of them, they come because the parents have been pushing.
Right.
And they qualify the written test, what we take at the time of admissions, and they come in. Within no time, they realized that no, it was probably they've chosen the something,
Yeah.
and their behavior changes, and they'll post, because we also have a residential program. So they'll suddenly in the night they'll tell the warden the stomach is paining. Next day they'll tell the food is not nice. Next day, so I mean we changed so much. Like we said, okay, the food is very nice. Okay, we have a solution for it. Whatever you eat, we eat all 3 meals with you.
Yeah.
So if the food is not nice, it will not be nice for us.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, we changed so much. We were so careful about, I mean, both Colonel Agarwal and myself, he eats very less. He eats much lesser than me. Right. But whatever, I mean, we were a little careful about less spices, less and all.
Right.
But then we said, these children, they come from all over India to us.
Right.
And we just take a handful of them, and their parents have a lot of expectations. And we said, okay, we are going to change ourselves. So we started exercising more, but we started eating all 3 meals with them.
Wow.
So it's like an extra parenting, but
right.
we do, but it helped us. And now, I mean, so I always tell children, you are smart, we'll outsmart you.
That's I mean, isn't that what a teacher? It's the best technique for a teacher to always be a step ahead of the students, because students can be really challenging sometimes.
Yeah. And sometimes some of the students, each year it happens, even this year, they become like pillars for us. They're so
right.
helpful. They do well in both in academics and their physical exercises and practices and the
right.
behavior and everything, that they themselves become a super example for the rest of the lot.
Yeah. I was just going to say that when you mentioned that you and Colonel Agarwal, you two yourself have started exercising more, so you can have those 3 meals with the students, so they don't feel that they're being treated separately or differently or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It is like they say that the younger ones always learn from the older ones. So when you said an example, the younger ones follow into your footsteps, consciously or unconsciously. So that was like something like that you mentioned that you do. You and
yes.
So
my husband both.
Yeah. Okay, ma'am. So go towards our last question. What would be your words of wisdom for budding entrepreneurs out there, but also for I think you are an educator, so you'd better answer what would be your questions for the future generations to go about life.
I'll give you just a one-liner story. Yes. So how it happened is that, I had gone to way back. I'm talking about a couple of years back. So I had gone to my own place. My parents don't live over there, but I had just gone for some program. Right. So there was a tea, and now I don't have tea or coffee or anything, but in those days, school, college days. So I happened to visit my college to meet a couple of my people over there, professors, all those things.
Yeah.
So there is a Raju, chaiwala over there, Raju. So
we all have that favorite joint.
Yeah, joint over there, the tea joint. So his father used to send the tea, and I really remember that boy was Raju, and the father named the tea stall on his name. So now Raju had taken over, and father was also there. So I went and met him, and he was so happy. He asked about my children and all. But I'm going to give you a beautiful line. I think it's going to be the punchline, and I took it back home. So Raju said, Didi, very nice to. He called me Didi. He said it like that. He said, Didi. I'll speak in Hindi a line if it is okay.
Yes. Please go ahead.
So because these are Raju's words, quote unquote. So Raju said, Didi, आपको देखकर बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. आप बहुत बड़े principal हो, बहुत बड़े school के principal हो. पर छोटा या बड़ा काम अपना भी होना चाहिए. Yeah, it was like, oh yes, Raju opened my eyes. At the end of the day, and I was like thinking, I met him and came back, but his words kept coming to my mind time and again. They stuck with me, and I said, "Chota ya bada kaam apna hona chahiye."
Right.
So, and I would suggest all my people viewers, over there, because viewers. So because as educators, we deal with thousands and thousands of children.
Yes.
So this mindset of getting a job has to start gradually changing into I can do something.
Right. of my own.
Whatever it is, of my own.
Atmanirbhar, it is the time for
Yes.
Atmanirbhar.
Atmanirbhar. So I take back, I always say thank you, Raju. For all those years, I was a principal and I was dealing with children, and I always motivated them to do something in their lives.
Right.
But chota ya bada, kaam apna hona
chahiye. I think this will be the headline of this interview for sure. I'll make sure that happens.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for coming here on this platform, KYE Talks, and sharing your journey with us. The inspiring work that you're doing, we wish you all the best going ahead. Pandemic and post-pandemic, we wish that a lot of people realize the importance of what you're trying to do, the difference that you're trying to create in the society.
Right. Thank you, Sonal. And with this, Jai Hind to all the viewers. It's been wonderful being over here. Yeah.
Thank you.